A father of 4 who was stabbed in the chest by a schizophrenic armed with a samurai sword after police failed to respond in time to 999 calls described bravery awards for officers as a joke. Ifran Malik, 39, said he would not have been stabbed an inch from his heart if the police had done their job. It comes as his attacker, Ali Bhatti, was sentenced to indefinite detention in a secure hospital after being convicted at Hove Crown Court of 1 count of attempted murder, 1 count of grievous bodily harm with intent and possession of a bladed article in a public place. Bhatti, a paranoid schizophrenic, was already on bail for having a dagger in a public place when he phoned 999 3 times, saying he was armed and wanted to kill in October 2021. Police failed to respond when Bhatti made his first 999 call, despite the dagger conviction just days earlier. He then made 2 more calls the following day saying he wanted to kill police and making threats against his local mosque. While still on the phone to police, Bhatti left his house and drove a motorcycle towards the Broadfield roundabout in Crawley, where he crashed. He then started walking through traffic along Horsham Road, waving the samurai sword in the air. Mr. Malik leapt from his car and confronted Bhatti in a bid to prevent anyone being injured. As he faced Bhatti, the former youth worker realized he knew him, but did not get a chance to talk him down before he was stabbed with a sword which caused serious injuries to his chest and forearm. Mr. Malik said, "He recognized me, but he kept looking over my shoulder and he was saying he'd done nothing wrong. I was looking right in his eyes. When I turned around to see what he was looking at, that's when he stabbed me." Bhatti continued the unprovoked attack and slashed at a second man, aged 61, who was walking along the footpath nearby, inflicting a large wound to his shoulder. PC Ryan Oakley and Sergeant James Arrol-Barker were the first officers on the scene. They approached the armed suspect and deployed their taser multiple times before it took effect and Bhatti fell to the ground. As soon as he did, the officers placed him in handcuffs, seized the weapon, and sought medical treatment for the 2 victims. In recognition of their bravery, the 2 officers were named as the Southeast Regional winners of the 2022 Police Federation Bravery Awards for their actions in detaining the armed suspect. But Mr. Malik condemned the police response as a joke, saying, "They sat in their cars and we ran past them. If the police had done their duty, we wouldn't be here today and I wouldn't have been stabbed. They should have been on his door in seconds. They waited once, twice, 3 times, and still they did nothing." In an extraordinary move, the jury at Hove Trial Center wrote to the judge after convicting Bhatti to express their concerns about the police response and investigation. Following his arrest, police failed to take blood samples from Bhatti, despite his claims to have taken drugs. The jury wrote, "We would like to express our concerns about the conduct of the police investigation in this case. Namely, Mr. Bhatti's pleas for help expressed in 999 calls were not acted upon in a timely fashion. Mr. Bhatti's claim of a threat made against him via phone was not properly investigated. No evidence of Mr. Bhatti's drug use was gathered other than his own admission. No toxicology was carried out on Mr. Bhatti's blood sample taken when arrested." Judge Henson QC said she shared their concerns and added, "These are concerns which need to be addressed by the police and what lessons can be learned going forward." Sussex police denied any misconduct by officers in the response to the incident, but an independent Office for Police Conduct (IOPC) review found the force had lessons to learn on the grading of 999 calls. Sussex police decided using a taser on Bhatti for a second time while he was already handcuffed and face down on the ground was necessary and proportionate. The lack of toxicology evidence in the case is under review. Chief Superintendent Howard Hodges said, "This was an unprovoked and vicious attack on 2 members of the public in the street and we commend them for supporting this investigation and for their bravery." Multiple police units were deployed to Horsham Road, Crawley, on an emergency response following reports of a man in possession of a weapon. 2 unarmed officers in separate vehicles were first on scene and maintained sight of the individual while awaiting firearms officers to arrive, in line with National College of Policing guidance. However, as the risk of immediate danger increased, the 2 officers on scene moved to detain the man themselves with the use of tasers. The mandatory referral was made to the Independent Office for Police Conduct (IOPC) owing to the injuries suffered by members of the public after police arrived on the scene. They determined a local investigation was appropriate and this has concluded and awaits IOPC review. When a jury has outstanding questions about some of the evidence they have heard, they can raise these with the judge to seek an explanation.